This is episode 62 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. The entire AFC North is now 1-1 after an equalizing week 2, and I have got some shit to fucking say about what we witnessed on Sunday, man. It was sometimes it's rough to be a Bengals fan. The Bengals bungled a prime opportunity to start 2-0, but the Browns took care of business against the Houston Texans. But
Did
you know
they?
what? What? What'd you
Did
say?
they though?
They did,
Did
yeah. Yeah, they did. I mean, they wasn't perfect, but they took care
I
of it.
mean, the offense was cool.
I mean, it wasn't a blowout. Like, I was predicting it to be a blowout, but, you know. But you know what, Thomas? I look forward to the Bengals facing off against Pittsburgh this week. Because why?
Because Pittsburgh still, indeed, always have. And they will last week, and they will this week, and they will the week after next, and they will in the foreseeable future suck.
Yeah, that's right. Steelers still suck, and they will always suck.
You suck, Pittsburgh, still.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
No, I'm serious because, like, you know, you want to talk about, like, you know, strength against weakness. This Bengals defensive line looks unreal right now. Like, I mean, the Bengals defensive line is looking really good, and the Steelers offensive line, not so much. So now, I mean, now, unfortunately, the Bengals have to play 53 players, not just the defensive line, because if it was just the defensive line, then we'd win all these games. But unfortunately, we also have to play the offense, which unbelievably looks terrible. Like, we thought the offense was going to be the thing that had to pull the defense up, not the other way around.
Yeah, I literally, that was literally my thought process of things to say before I came on this podcast. I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, you know, we're always going to talk about how I literally said that as long as the offense for the Bengals is just respectable, they should be fine. But here I am eating crow because the Bengals defense, like you said, is the one. I mean, shoot, our defense was better than our defense.
Yeah, our defense is excessively better than it was last year. I was actually watching Tom Grassi. He's a football YouTuber, mainly, like, you know, his theme is like the Packers. And he does like play-by-play games for like all the big primetime games and stuff like that. And I was watching him cover the Chargers and Cowboys, and he mentioned he was talking about how, like, you know, like the Bears almost lost to the Bengals and the Vikings lost to the Bengals and how that was so hilarious. And he's like, their defense is just so bad. And I'm like, have you been watching? Our defense is the good part. What are you talking about? Like, the offense is supposed to be the good part. It's supposed to be the offense is really good and the defense is really bad, but it's actually the other way around, which is nice because hopefully once Joe Burrow, like the whole idea was, everybody was like, you know, well, since Joe Burrow came back so early, there's this idea that Joe Burrow is really going to get his shit together and, you know, he's really going to get into his form and be at his best probably by about mid-season. So that's kind of what I'm hoping right now, because what we saw on Sunday was, I mean, there were flashes. There was flashes of, like, elite Joe Burrow, but I mean, man, 3 interceptions in a row. Like, I mean, we're not even talking like, you know, he threw 3 interceptions on 3 consecutive drives. I mean, he threw a pass and it was intercepted. Next time he was on the field, he threw a pass and it was intercepted. Next time he was on the field, he threw a pass. And in fairness, the offensive line kind of messed up and the ball got deflected and it counted as an interception, even though that one wasn't really his fault. But still, it was the next play and it was intercepted. I was just like, how is this happening? And you want to know the crazy thing? The drive before that, like the last Bengals offensive play that happened before Joe Burrow's first interception was T. Higgins' fumble. So that's 4 turnovers in a row. And right before T. Higgins' fumble, was when Logan Wilson, when Trey Hendrickson strip sacked Justin Fields and the ball was on the ground and Logan Wilson went to go scoop it up and go for a touchdown and just couldn't pick up the fucking ball. So we're talking about, if you talk about how many points were either prevented or the Bears directly scored because of those 5 turnover type plays, that's a 20-point swing. You know how many points the Bears scored in this game? 20. The entire game, the entire reason we lost was like located in those 5 fucking turnover worthy plays that we had. And it just boggles my mind. And I'm not going to lie. Part of me, I've been the biggest, Zach Taylor defender that exists out there for the most part, but this game is absolutely 100% on the coaching. I cannot look at this game and think, oh my God, Zach Taylor's a good coach. Oh, if the team keeps looking like this, if we keep losing games like this all season, Zach Taylor has got to go. And I'm not saying he needs to go right now because that's overreactionary and stupid. And it's not entirely his fault that everything happened the way it happened, but it is on the coaching that you have this lack of discipline and this lack of execution. It's 100% on the coaching. And 100%. Then, not to mention there's the penalties, there's just the undisciplined play. I'm just like, this was a coaching loss, 100% pure and simple. And yeah, Joe Burrow threw 3 interceptions in a row, and that was on Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow also nearly led them to a miracle comeback at the end. So it's just kind of like, did Joe Burrow have a bad game? He had a bad game, but he almost made up for it. So this game, the fault of this game is on Zach Taylor, purely Zach Taylor. And if this shit keeps happening, then Zach Taylor is hopefully the next Freddie Kitchens. Meaning, I hope we go get a Kevin Stefanski and start becoming a contender after this. Because we got the talent. We got the team. We got a defense that's playing lights out lately, by the way. We've got an offense that has a ton of talent and, and a quarterback who can be elite, like the elite of the elite of the elite. We've got all the pieces we need. We've even got a goddamn kicker now. We've got all the pieces. This team is good enough to contend. And if they don't, that's on the coaching. So what are you drinking today, Thomas?
I am drinking all the tears of the Bengals fans at the throwing no four. By the way, I absolutely just enjoyed that rant. By the way, like that put a smile on my face because it's Taylor 2 fans right now, man. It's Taylor 2 fans, and I'm not eccentric about the way the Browns played. They could have played better, but man, dude. Somebody said on the Cleveland Browns radio that the Browns played better. The Browns in 1 year did what the Bengals were trying to do in 20 years. Win a playoff game. So today I'm drinking a Gatorade. I'm drinking an orange Gatorade to be exact. Actually, I'm drinking a blue one, but I don't know the blue one's back.
You also kind of sound like you got a little throat thing going on there. You're right.
Well, because I had a busy weekend screaming with 62,000 people.
Oh,
but also I had quite a studio session because I recorded a new song.
Yeah. Thomas, I was also screaming at a football game. So for me, I am drinking a Bellhaven Scottish Ale because it is the strongest beer I have in my fridge right now. And I'm going to need it to get through this podcast.
That's great.
Thomas, I want to run a 2 stats by you. Okay.
Okay. I'm listening.
All right. So the Bengals allowed 83 yards passing.
Okay.
And 67 yards from the running backs.
Okay.
Neither of those numbers are triple-digit numbers. They held both sides of their offensive game. They went over 100 yards if you count scrambling. But if we're just talking about pure passing and pure running back type plays, both those 2 individual things we held to double-digit numbers. How the fuck did we lose this game?
Turnovers.
That's right. Because we lost the turnover margin 4-1.
Turnovers kill a football team, man. Like it's like I said last week, if the Browns will turn the ball, you start the season off 2-0 against Kansas City. You turn the ball over against Kansas City, you lose the game. Yeah. Turnovers lose you the game, dude. It's just the fact of the matter is sports. The fact of the matter is when you turn over the ball, it's a very simple concept. When you turn the ball over, you went from having a chance to score to giving another team a free pass into scoring. Basically, you're saying, here go my turn. You have it. And anytime you have, 3, 4, how many times they turn the ball over? 4 times? Because then Higgins had a fumble, right?
Higgins did have a fumble. And like I said, it was 4 drives in a row that we turned the ball over. And like I said, the Bears drive before that, we failed to pick up a turn. We failed to pick up a fumble. I said, if Logan Wilson could have fallen on it, and that would have been a turnover, we would have been in really good field. We would have been in really good field position. We probably would have scored a touchdown off of that. But I mean, it was also like out in the middle of the open. If he just like has a little bit better coordination, that's a defensive touchdown right there. And by the way, that's the difference in the game too, because we ended up having a little comeback at the end, and instead of like honestly, this game really should be remembered as a game where we lost 20-7, but there was a little bit of a rally there at the end, which like kind of looks like garbage time points if you really analyze it, but like in the moment, it really felt like the Bengals were about to have a miracle comeback. And it was impressive. Like, Joe Burrow had like, this big bomb to Jamar Chase again, by the way. And then, he had a short capital, like Logan Wilson, the guy who didn't pick up the fumble, did get an interception on Justin Fields, which directly led to a T. Higgins touchdown. That's 14 points right there. And then you got Evan McPherson in your back pocket. All you got to do, Thomas, is you just got to stop the Bears. And we did. We had him dead to rights, and Trey Hendrickson, who's just been this great player all game, completely just like circles around, like he gets on his hips and he looks like you ever took like a paper clip and like flipped it around on your finger like this? That's what Trey Hendrickson looked like on Justin Fields' hip. Unbelievable. Man, we had him dead to rights, and we got Evan McPherson in our back pocket, and we could have easily at least sent that game to overtime. If not Joe Burrow throwing a touchdown pass, because he's going to do it, because we saw him do it. Well, not do that, but we saw him win the game with the first down pass to C.J. Uzomah against the Vikings. And Joe Burrow was on fire at that point after putting the 3 interceptions behind him. He showed us the real Joe Burrow after that fact. And
the real Joe Burrow stood up.
Exactly. The real Joe Burrow stood up, and the real Trey Hendrickson sat the fuck down.
Dude, the whole point is that, like I said, the whole thing is you lose turnover batter. I mean, if anything, the Bears look beautiful for my Browns next week. So there's that. But that was just a hell of a run by freaking Justin Fields. I don't know. The kid is he's a gamer.
Well, Justin Fields did really well as a scrambler, and ultimately that's probably what kind of did us in this week. He extended a lot of drives with his legs that honestly otherwise we would have completely had the Bears locked down. The only thing is like it was actually remarkable because like Andy Dalton was shredding us. Like Andy Dalton was like absolutely doing really well. You know how I talked about the fact, you know how like I think me and Larry both talked about the fact that if Dalton does well, then the crowd's going to go crazy, and if he doesn't do well, the crowd's going to turn on him. Well, he did the first one. Dalton did really well, and the crowd was so behind him and everything like that. And then DJ Reader sacked him awkwardly, and he went out for the game, and Justin Fields was in there for the rest of the game. And, unfortunately, that might be it for Andy Dalton's Bears career. I'm not sure. But then again, it might not be because Justin Fields looked really bad. Like, Justin Fields played very badly.
This definitely looked that good on paper. I watched the game. Obviously, I watched the highlights. And I haven't really seen a lot that really impressed me about Justin Fields this game. I agree.
He was terrible. He was able to make stuff happen with his legs, which, by the way, I kind of missed that aspect of Joe Burrow from last year. I'm not exactly expecting that right now because he's still like trying to figure out his leg and stuff like that. Maybe we'll see that near the end of the season. But Justin Fields, that's the one thing he did do well is he scrambled, but he had like a 20-something passer rating. It was terrible.
That excitement for next week, but I don't know. He might figure it out. I don't know. A lot of rookie quarterbacks. Well, it was a bad week for a lot of rookie quarterbacks. I'll tell you one thing though. Like you said, there's a lot of good takeaway from this game. I mean, it's a 17-week season. Excuse me. There's a lot. So there's a lot of season left. There's a lot to be patient about. We should be patient with this team because it's a long season.
Yeah.
That Jamar Chase catch was pretty phenomenal. That was pretty cool catch by Jamar Chase. So that was pretty cool, and that's something that you want to see. That's something that you hope to see going forward because like if they couldn't stop Jamar Chase, I wonder how they're gonna do against another LSU receiver that looks like he might play on Sunday. No. Jarvis Landry's hurt, by the way. You ever hurt?
Oh, I know. Okay, never mind then.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah.
So what you're telling me is Baker Mayfield's going to throw a bunch of picks next week.
No, because he might throw one. He's averaging one pick a week. So
No, I'm just saying because Odell Beckham's going to be back.
We'll see, dude. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I was thinking about it, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. All I'm saying is, from what I see from the Bengals game is, it just seemed like the team just shot themselves in the foot. They had a chance to take advantage of a team that lost their starting quarterback and had a backup quarterback. They had a chance to be in first place of the AFC North. Like, y'all had a chance to be in first place.
We got that. We still got the chance, I think, to be in first place next week. Because we'll talk more about this on the next episode of the podcast because that's previewing the Steelers. But man, this Bengals defensive line looks nasty, and that Steelers offensive line looks nasty the other way.
There's a lot of stuff going on here, but honestly, what I think is going to happen is. Like I said, the Bengals offense is going to come around. You just got to stop making these stupid turnovers. But turnovers happen. It's the first, honestly though, it's the first half of the season. It's a long season. It's 17 weeks this year. That's a long time. As long as when you're looking at a young team like the Bengals, who are still going through this process of building up a new culture, every week matters. And I know the first thing is to say fire Zach Taylor, but I only lost by 3 points. I don't know.
But look, again, I'm not saying, well, okay, first of all, we lost by 3 points because we had a miracle comeback at the end. Like I said, this game for the most part was a 20-7 beatdown.
But did it not happen though?
Well, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Again,
though.
I want to clarify. I'm not
y'all were
saying
y'all one tackle away from getting the ball back, and like you said, Joe Burrow is hot and getting the field goal. Like, it's funny how stuff like that works.
We could have somehow won that game. That's incredible. I don't necessarily attribute that to Zach Taylor, though. I attribute that to the grit mostly of Joe Burrow.
Well, I mean, but
I do want to clarify, though.
Grit had 3 interceptions.
I do want to clarify, though. I'm not saying I want Zach Taylor fired now. I'm saying it's on my mind right now because that game was 100% his fault. But you don't fire people because they had a bad day. Like that's just not how that works. I'm just saying I got my eye on you now.
We got your eye on you. We got our eye on you. I don't. I mean, I would think they should fire him. But then again, I'm not a Bengals fan.
Well, I don't think they should fire him right now either. I think that this game should, at the end of the season, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Zach Taylor needs to have a good season, like a season that shows progress. A decent amount of progress too, because it's year 3, dude. Like, we got to see something here. So Zach Taylor probably needs at least 8 and 9 to keep his job. And if
y'all gonna go 8 and 9, y'all gonna go 8 and 9. Y'all go 8. Y'all gonna go better.
We could. But what I'm saying is, if we do go 8 and 9, that's like the borderline. If we're 8 and 9, but we had a bunch of games like this, then the question is, how do you take the next step from 8-9 to beyond that? And if we have a bunch of games like this where the coaching is clearly the problem, then the next step might require a new head coach. Again, I'm not saying
Possibly.
let's do that right now. I'm saying it's part of the thought process.
I mean, like, here's a question. Here's my question.
Oh, and don't get me started on the play calling, by the way.
So here go my question, and here go my honest question, and I think you know the answer to this, and then I'm gonna give you how I feel about the situation. Do you think personally that Zach Taylor is currently the best option at head coach, or do you think if you were to get a new coach, that the ceiling for the Bengals would be higher? Do you think, basically what I'm saying, do you think Zach Taylor do you think Zach Taylor will create the highest ceiling possible for the Cincinnati Bengals?
Right now, yes.
Long term.
At the end of the season, again, we'll see. If they bounce back from this, if they don't do this stupid shit again, then yeah, Zach Taylor, I think, provides the best, ceiling for this team going forward. However, if they do this shit again throughout the rest of the season, if this issue keeps coming up, like I said, that's the only major issue we really have left. The defense is better. The offensive line is kind of up and down. But the offensive line is honestly not as bad as people keep saying it is. It's like Joe Burrow keeps taking a lot of sacks, but I think that's more so a scheme issue. And I think, quite honestly, it's a Joe Burrow pocket presence issue right now. Like as you see Joe Burrow adjusting more to the game after, coming back from injury and everything like that, I think the sacks will kind of whittle down because, again, I mean, you've had some bad performances, you have, but it hasn't been as bad as the sack numbers look. It's not just the offensive line, it's the problem. It's partly it's the scheme, and part of it's Joe Burrow's pocket presence. And so, yeah, I like I said, I think right now Zach Taylor is the best person for the job. Because honestly, if you fired him right now, who the hell else would come in and do it? Like, I mean, does Lou Anarumo end up being the? I guess Darren Simmons would end up being the interim head coach, and I don't really have any confidence in that at all. But at the end of the season, when you got guys like Eric Bieniemy, when you might have Mike Zimmer looking for a job, because I believe the Vikings are 0-2 now.
Yeah.
I do genuinely believe Mike Zimmer could get a lot more out of this team just from a discipline perspective alone. I mean, imagine if right now Mike Zimmer has erratic ass Kirk Cousins to work with on offense. Imagine if he had Joe Burrow.
Well, I only asked that question because, you never want to waste the season, so I ain't gonna tell you I do it this season. But all I'm saying is that if you get to the end of the season and you might be thinking, there's this guy available, there's this guy available, and there's this guy available, and they might benefit our team better if they're the coach instead of Zach Taylor, and they might have a higher ceiling than Zach Taylor would. And I'm just saying,
it depends on what we see this team do.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. I don't know.
Like I would not, like I said, I do not currently think that Zach Taylor should be fired at the end of the year. I definitely don't think he should be fired now, but I don't currently think he should be fired at the end of the year either. But I'm definitely open to the possibility now, whereas I wasn't last week. Oh, Packers. Yeah, Packers
don't look good.
Packers do not look good. We will talk more about that in the predictions episode because we'll have a little bit more information by then. All right. I think that's probably about all we need to talk about as far as the Bengals are concerned. Let's go ahead and move on to these Cleveland Browns and Houston Texans.
Kyle,
Thomas,
I have a really good story to tell you.
What's that, Thomas?
Well, okay, Kyle, look at the camera for a second. You see this, Kyle?
What in the fuck?
Do you want to know the story behind this?
I definitely want to know the story. What am I looking at?
Well, let me tell you what happened. This is how it all started. I'm at the Browns tailgate, casually. Oh, this is a really good story. You got to wait to the end for this story.
Okay.
Casually at the Browns tailgate, guys, just chilling. And I decided to bring a sign and a marker. Well, I'm not the most artistic person. So I thought, hey, you know what would be fun to meet people? Well, I'll go to these random people over here and have them make my sign for them and play beer pong with them. Man, what's the worst thing that happened? So we go over there. Me and my friend, we play them beer pong, and then we make a sign together. And the sign says something very simple, very easy, so harmless. What could come of it? Baker, number 4, MVP. It's so simple. It's such a simple thing, right? Nothing could ever come of it, right? Okay. Got the sign. And then they were like, hey, can we all sign the sign? Like, yeah, I don't all just sign the sign. Everybody sign the sign. So, whatever, it's like, it's great. So they started signing the sign. Then these other people came over, like, hey, I like this. So they started signing it. And I was like, I look at my friend Colin, like, Colin, you know what? I'm going to start walking around telling people this is a petition. So I just walked around tailgate. I'm like, hey, sir, you want to sign my petition? They're like, what is it for? It's like Baker for MVP. They're like, okay, I signed that. So then another guy signed it. And then another guy signed it. Next thing you know, I got a line of people signing it, Cal. Next thing you know, I'm at a bar, and the bartender starts signing. And then all for Baker for MVP. The bouncer signs it. Then Pumpkinhead, the famous fan, signs it. And then Pumpkinhead entire band signs it. And then next thing you know, I'm being interviewed by Cleveland.com. And then next thing you know, I got more people signing this sign. And then next thing you know, it looks like this.
Jesus.
And they say we don't support our quarterback. It was the most surreal thing I have ever seen in my entire life. It's how passionate, how much fun Browns fans are. But here go the best part of the story.
I'm kind of. Who is Pumpkinhead?
He's a famous head. He's like one of those famous Browns fans because he comes to every single game with a head of a pumpkin. He wears the jersey, but he has a head.
Oh, I thought you mentioned something about his band.
Yeah, he has a band too.
I thought you meant
he
like
has
a
a
guy.
The by the way, the tailgate on Sunday. Oh my God, that was insane, Cleveland. The Browns tailgate. I don't know if you've seen the photos of it, but to give you an idea of how crazy this tailgate was, you had my friend. They went to the square lot. That's where we started our tailgate. There had to be about 8 or 9 different tailgates going on around the stadium. Then you had West 6. West 6 was insane. They had the radio. They had the stage. They were just shooting off confetti and everything. It was a party. Shots. All the bars were full. People were just in the streets wearing brown and orange. There was so many people. The flats were packed. Over 100,000 people crowded around the stadium. The stadium only holds 67,000 people, but over 100,000 people were down there. There were so many Browns fans. The city was electric. Going to the community lot, seeing how the community lot was just insanely packed. That helicopter aerial view of the community lot tailgate. That was just the meat of what amazing tailgate it was on Sunday. Man, that tailgate was insane. Now, Kyle, here go the best part of the story, by the way. The game is going on. And I'm standing next to my friend. We're in line to get a burger. Everybody's watching the game. Everybody's happy in the moves, right? And then I don't know if you've seen this play, but Baker went down with an injury. And when he went down with that injury, when he held his left shoulder, I heard the radio host. And I heard it in my head. And he was like, Baker Mayfield is holding his left shoulder. And he's holding his left shoulder. Mind you, 3 minutes before this happened, I looked at my friend. I was like, hey, I hope today might be the day I go viral. And remember the fact that I said that. Today might be the day I go viral. That's what I said to my best friend. And Baker Mayfield is currently on the ground holding his left shoulder in a lot of pain. And the radio host didn't help it out because he kept on saying, he's holding his left shoulder. Baker Mayfield is holding his left shoulder. And then I see here another guy who's standing right next to me in line. He's like, oh, shit, our season might be over. And then I look at Colin, my best friend. Well, one of my best friends, Kyle, I love you. You're also my best friend. But I look at Colin, and then Colin's like, man, that sign is worthless. And then I look at the screen. And when I tell you I had one of the largest panic attacks in my life, I almost had one of the largest panic attacks of my life. When the star quarterback of your football team might have a season in the injury, and that's not even the worst thing that happened to you at that moment. Because the worst thing about it was my sign got pictures taken by hundreds of people and Cleveland.com. If Baker Mayfield went down with an injury like that for the rest of the season, and I had a sign that says Baker Mayfield for MVP signed by thousands of fans, I would have been very infamous. I literally thought about leaving that stadium at that moment. I was really scared. So be careful. The more of the story is be careful what you wish for. And
Well,
also, Baker for MVP.
Positive sounding follow up to that is Baker Mayfield had an MRI and there was no structural damage done to that shoulder. So It sounds like he's going to be fine.
Oh, he's going to be great because right after that, he went absolutely off. Now, let's get into this game about the Browns. You mind if I go ahead and elaborate about the Browns game? Yeah, all right. I mean, they've been hearing my voice for a long time, so I don't want to overly saturate.
You know more about the Browns game than I do.
So, first of all, the crowd was electric. The crowd was amazing. The Texans actually shredded the Browns defense, especially in the first half. Tyrod Taylor looked good, and that scares me. I don't really think Andy Dalton or Justin Fields could lift the board. Honestly, I don't think they could do it. I think Tyrod Taylor just looked good. I think Tyrod Taylor is a very capable quarterback, but our secondary did not do good. And Woods again.
Hold on a minute. Are you trying to tell me that you're saying Tyrod Taylor is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton and Justin Fields?
No.
Okay.
I'm not
about to
say
that. Like
Andy Dalton, yes, but not Justin Fields.
I don't know. Come on. Like, man, Andy Dalton. I mean, I can't tell you what first of all, Andy Dalton looked really good against the Bengals. Second of all, Andy Dalton was like playing it was once almost an MVP of the NFL.
Tyrod Taylor took the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs.
Courtesy of Andy Dalton.
But did he not do it though?
Well, he did, but Andy Dalton's the one who sent him there.
Okay, you know what? That's not the point. The point is Tyrod Taylor looked good in the first half against the Browns defense.
Well, we've got some questions about the Browns defense, I think.
We do, but the Browns, they did look better in the second half, but partially because they had a quarterback that I still can't name, and the officer said his name probably about 50 times yesterday. Still couldn't get his name right, so I don't know who this guy is. I have no idea what letter his first name even start with, let alone his last name. So
the quarterback?
Yeah, it was like number 10. That's all I remember about him. He was number 10.
For the Browns or the Texans?
No, for the Texans.
Came in for Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor got hurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor got hurt. And And so the Browns defense did not look
So wait,
good.
Davis Mills didn't go in for Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta do something real quick. Hey, yo, Google, shut up. Google. Hey, Google, turn off alarm.
Quality content right here.
Google, I'm up.
This is what y'all subscribe to for, folks. For Google bloopers.
No, cause okay, so you guys, hey Google, all that stuff. Yeah. So anyway, all right.
So wait, you're telling me Tyrod Taylor got hurt and Davis Mills didn't go in?
Yeah.
What did they draft him for?
Who's the quarterback that went into the game? Let me see.
I don't know. Who did go in for Tyrod?
It was number 10. He actually didn't look terrible. He just looked bad.
Well, keep going.
So anyway, when the new quarterback came in, the Browns defense did look better. We did trail. It was David Mills, by the way. He went 8 for 18 with 102 yards passing, one touchdown, and one.
Mills' name. It's like the most generic name of all time.
Yeah, because all right, man, all right. He's the backup quarterback for the Texans.
Well, he's also the quarterback they took with their first selection in the draft.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's wow. Did they really?
Yeah, they didn't have a first round
right?
pick, but they took him with their second round pick.
Ooh, good luck, Texas. Good luck, Texas. No, you know what? Honestly, he really didn't look that bad, honestly, if I'm being honest. But I mean, the Browns defense, though, is not that great. I mean, he went for 8 for 18, one touchdown, one reception. He didn't look as bad as Zach Wilson did.
Wow. We all know how I feel about Zach Wilson.
Well, hey man, you look. Isn't that the one who got drafted by? That's the one who got drafted by the Jets, right? Am I not mistaken? Yeah. Good luck with that. So then getting back to the Browns defense didn't look good in the first half, but it looked better in the second half. Baker Mayfield coming back from injury. He is now the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. He also took the least passes out of all the qualified starters. But Baker Mayfield is currently the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, only missing 8 passes or 6 passes all season between 2 games. He did have an interception yesterday, but his passing, every single time he throws the ball, it's a completion. What more can you ask for? He's looking accurate, man.
Completion to the other team.
I mean, he's not throwing the ball a lot, but when you have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, no matter who in the scheme, you don't need to. You don't need to. You're just going by the game plan. You just get the lead and you run that clock out till you win the game. I mean, that's a formula to win it. That's one of the best formulas to win. And when Baker Mayfield needs to pass, he passed the ball, and he's been doing it well. Jarvis Landry's hurt. That's scary. But it's just an MCL sprain. They said the MRIs came back negative, so that's always also great. Baker Mayfield shoulder is looking better. Jedrick Wills doesn't look completely healthy, so I don't know what's going on with that. He looked like he rolled an ankle. He's not blocking as well as he could, but the offensive line could be worse. But the good news is we are light on receiver right now, but the good news is there's rumblings that Odell Beckham will probably be back. And I think that he will be back, especially with Jarvis Landry out. I think Odell Beckham will be back next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think he'll be back next week. I got a feeling. I got a good feeling about that. But it honestly, it was a positive game. I'm trying not to be negative about it because they won by 10 points. So, I mean, I just feel like maybe the Texans are just a better team than we're giving them credit for. And the Texans are a disciplined adult football team that's not going to make mistakes. They're going to shoot them in the foot. So that's pretty much
unlike another team we know.
Yeah, well, that's the team that won't play next week. The Bears are the same. They're not gonna. They may not be the best team in the world, but they won't shoot themselves in the foot. So we got to be ready for that. We have to clean up our mistakes. We have to clean up our defense because our defense is not looking like the best. But they do have flashes. We also got to see a guy in Grant Delpit. He was a safety. He's a safety guy at LSU. Grant Delpit looked good. He had a lot of tackles in the box. That kid looked fast coming back from a Achilles tear. So that's amazing that he's coming back from that so well. And Greg Newsome, he had some good breakups, but honestly, I don't think our defense problem is our talent. I think our defensive talent. I think our defensive problem is our scheme, and that's a sentiment that's traveled among a lot of Clevelanders right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they should fire Joe Woods, but I think that we shouldn't excuse him from questions. Well, we gotta let's just give this defense time to jail. Let's see what happens.
No, I will say my I think my biggest question when it came to the Browns Texans game was why like maybe you're right. Maybe the Texans aren't as bad as we've been giving them credit for, just because they've looked so bad. But maybe because everybody's been calling them so bad, maybe they've been using that as motivation to like be disciplined and stuff like that. Well, why was this game tied at halftime, man? Like, it really like the Browns are so much better of a team than the Texans. It really should not have been tied at halftime, I don't think.
No, I mean, it shouldn't. I mean, but you gotta realize what happened in the first half. For one,
yeah, it looked like the Browns were developing the same turnover issues the Bengals had at one point.
The Browns had one turnover in the first half? Oh no, yeah, only one turnover in the first half.
Oh. I thought they had like two in a row or something.
Actually, no, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. You're right. They did have 2 turnovers. I'm just remembering the process of events wrong. Yeah, so that interception didn't look good either. I mean, that happened, but the ability to bounce back. You know, you talk about the Bengals wait until the fourth quarter to bounce back against the Bears. You know, that is a growth thing, because 2 years ago the Browns would have lost this game because they wouldn't have bounced back the way they did. The Browns were able to bounce back. They didn't disappoint the crowd, and I guess that's the learning. Yeah, they had a fumble. They had a fumble and an interception.
Right.
They had a fumble and they had 2 back-to-back drives. They had a fumble and an interception. You're 100% correct.
But you know what? I will say in the Browns' defense, and why, you know, as I've said before, I was very upset when the Cleveland Browns announced that they were picking Kevin Stefanski to be their head coach, because I knew that was the right coach for them. And what the thing is, the Browns had that, you know, stretch of turnovers, and that was bad, but they didn't let them. They didn't let that like destroy their, you know, mindset. They put it to the side. They bounced back, and they just show what it takes to be a team that's got, you know, not just discipline, but, you know, just like overall good coaching. So you know what, Bengals? Maybe you should be more like the fucking Browns. God damn it.
You know what's funny about that fumble? I don't know how I forgot about it, because I just read it like, oh, yeah, it's Jonathan People-Jones. This is exactly how this went when I was sitting next to my friend and this happened. So the ball is caught, because we had a good seat to see this. We had a good angle. The ball was caught. Jonathan People-Jones took like 3 or 4 steps, and it got hit and dropped the ball. And everybody was like, oh, it's incompletion. Everybody was saying that. I was the only person in the section. Like, everybody chill. It was exactly what we seen. This man caught the ball, took a few steps, took his grandma out to breakfast, and it got the crap knocked out of him and fumbled the ball. That's exactly what happened. He caught the ball. He took a walk down memory lane, and then got hit back forward and dropped the ball.
Well, like I said in the intro, everybody in the division is 1-1 now. So It pretty much takes the, you know, the bad performance that you guys and the Ravens had in week 1. That's kind of reset now.
It might be a fun division.
And the Steelers are kind of brought back a little bit back to earth.
Funniest division in sports. It's about to get real in the AFC North.
It's about to get interesting, I think, and
it's about to get real in the AFC North.
It's gonna be a fun year this year, I think. But let's go ahead and I think start talking about the our underrated players of the week.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you go first. For like I want to go first when we talk about the Browns underrated player of the week, because I don't know who you picked, but I don't want you to steal mine because I really have some points I want to talk about with mine. But I'm going to let you go first with the Bengals. So why don't you tell me who you think was the Bengals underrated player of the week?
I think you should go first with the Bengals.
You want me to go first with the Bengals?
Yeah,
well, I'm still going first with the Browns.
No, you still go first with the Browns, but I'm deferring my turn for the Bengals.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk about Logan Wilson, the Bengals. I guess I want to say he's mainly an outside linebacker.
Okay.
But yeah, Logan Wilson. I mean, he's a starter and widely considered to be the Bengals' future at the linebacker position. So is he an underrated player? I don't know. Well, somehow, yes. Somehow he is still underrated because nobody takes the linebacker unit seriously, despite the fact that Logan Wilson's there. And Logan Wilson is constantly showing that he's a great player. And the problem is, part of the reason that he's underrated this particular week is because a lot of people are going to remember him for, I talked about it earlier in the episode, when Trey Hendrickson strip sacked Justin Fields and Logan Wilson went up to the fumble and tried to scoop it for a fumble return for a touchdown and then bumbled it and Justin Fields recovered it. Mm-hmm. That's what most people are going to remember Logan Wilson for in this game, because that was the most visible play. And I just complained about it, earlier, taking points off the board that, at the end of the game would have been the difference in the game. However, despite that one really bad play, almost every single other play that Logan Wilson had this week was fan-fucking-tastic. He was actually the Bengals, even with that really bad, lack of fumble recovery. He still finished as the Bengals' highest-graded player per PFF. I think he got an 84.1 overall grade. He actually got an 89.5, almost a 90 in his pass coverage, because at one point he made up for the fact that he didn't recover that fumble, and he intercepted Justin Fields at the game. And that interception sparked the Bengals' attempt at a miracle comeback. And it ended up being it helped them put together a 14-point swing at the end, which is, again, part of the reason we only lost by 3 points. He led the team in tackles with 9. It's like it seemed like every time Justin Fields threw in Logan Wilson's direction, it just wasn't the play that they were wanting. So I'd say, even though Logan Wilson as a player overall isn't super underrated because he is a starter, I don't think I think he's going to not get as much credit as he deserves for the way he played in that game.
All right. I got one.
All right.
How about Chris Evans?
What
the running back you got from Michigan. I forgot you had on the team because you got him in the 6th round, right? And I remember you talked about him when we were talking about the draft talk. You said that, we talked about this, and I talked about the fact that I like late round running backs.
Yeah.
Just having another weapon or somebody that could contribute behind what's his name? Joe Mixon. Yeah. So he had one catch for 14 yards. Mm-hmm. I like it. He's on the field. He's making moves. I think that this kid got a lot of potential. I think that he comes from a good program in Michigan that don't do good, that does mediocre during the season. Look great.
Lately hasn't been doing well.
But they produce good players though. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, besides Donovan Peoples-Jones making that fumble. Come on, Donovan Peoples. Anyway. But shout out to him. It's great seeing him on the field. Great seeing him make a big catch. And maybe that can lead to other things down the line.
Well, I will say, as far as Chris Evans goes, I was a little surprised because, you're like, I want to shout out Chris Evans, and I'm like, what did he do? But you're right, he did have that one catch. He did do one thing in the game, so he's extremely underrated because he didn't really do anything this week.
They did do something. He had 14 yards.
He did have that 14-yard catch in the third quarter, I believe, which actually came right after Joe Burrow. Like the Bengals were in field goal range, potentially getting their first points of the game after Chicago took a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. Or was it the first quarter when they actually got that? Yeah. So Bengals offense haven't been able to do anything, and looks like they're going to sputter out again after Joe Burrow took an 8-yard sack, and suddenly they're out of field goal range again. And Chris Evans comes with this 14-yard touchdown, or well, not touchdown. Chris Evans comes with this 14-yard catch that on a 3rd and 18, and it didn't get them into it didn't give them a first down, didn't keep the drive going, but it did give the Bengals just enough position to give Evan McPherson a chance to attempt a field goal. And that led to Evan McPherson's second 53-yard field goal in as many weeks. So, I will say Chris Evans did, I agree with you. His impact was certainly underrated because there was almost none. But the amount that there was definitely, I think, worth shouting out.
By the way, Evan McPherson, shout out to him too, because when you're watching
shout outs as we can possibly give.
Because when you're watching the Bengals game, you're just thinking, dang, all Joe Burrow got to do is just get it close. He gets points
exactly
automatically. That's such a luxury.
Especially when you have Joe Burrow.
You just you're just thinking like, all right, I got the ball at the 20-yard line. Well, say I don't get a touchdown, even if I just get 40 yards, I'm in range to get a field goal. And you're at the 20.
Right.
And change the whole dynamic of the game.
Exactly. And it's not just that, but it's like it's knowing that if you're in field goal range, he's almost definitely going to knock it in. It's not like, oh, hey, we're in field goal range, so maybe our kicker will get it done. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. No, it's like if you got Evan McPherson, if it's within his range that he can actually kick, which according to him, I heard on our color analyst, Dave Lapham, he does a podcast called In the Trenches, and he had Evan McPherson on that podcast. Evan McPherson said he hit a 77-yard field goal in practice. Okay. So my thought process here is if you're within 77 yards, then you can trust that Evan McPherson is going to nail that thing in. Now I'm being a little ridiculous there, but still in any reasonable field goal distance, and probably then some on top of that, you can rest assured that if Evan McPherson has the leg for it, he will get it where it's going. It is a nice luxury to have, and it'll be really useful if this team can actually
This is why you draft This is why you draft a kicker.
Well, this is why you draft the right kicker, because sometimes you draft Robert Aguayo. Sometimes you draft Neil fucking Rackers and he ends up being a gigantic bust for you, and then he goes off to Arizona and becomes like one of the greatest kickers in NFL history.
You know why that statement is just so funny to me? Because I always say that on the podcast, right? I go like, this is why you should just draft a kicker. I think it's like outlandish statement. And then you know how you always counter out that statement? By naming some random kicker that you just do on top of your head like that. You know how amazing that is, Kyle. You just know how amazing that's a skill that will get you absolutely nowhere in life, but it's a very impressive skill.
Nobody cares about kickers. But you know what? I can name you every single kicker the Bengals have had going all the way back my entire life, and nobody on the planet gives a shit about that. But I do
because it's hilarious, especially when you counteract it with, "Hey man,
shout out to my boy Doug Pelfrey, the Bengals kicker in the early and late '90s." Who was just an absolute fucking machine for a team that was absolutely terrible, and also played at the University of Kentucky, which is why I love him. He's a local news anchor too. Or at least he was. Good. I don't know if he still is. I don't really pay too much attention to that. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on.
Make fun of the rest of the AFC North. I
No.
about.
We still need to do the Browns underrated player.
Oh, the Browns underrated player. Oh yeah, shoot,
Yeah.
I almost forget. You go first.
I am going to give the award to Dimitri Felton.
Ooh, see, this is why you go first.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking about it. I see that. I see. I had the feeling that you're going to pick him. That's why when you said you want to go first, like, yeah, let him go first. I had a feeling you were going to do that. I had a feeling. I was like, let me just think of somebody else. But yeah, that's a great pick. I love it. I want to hear what you guys say about him. Go ahead.
Okay, so I got a few things to say about him. But you know how many offensive snaps Dimitri Felton played this week, Thomas?
Three.
Exactly three. And holy fuck, did he make all of them count.
Oh, he's going to a lot more next week.
He has earned some playing time. He only caught 2 passes.
A lot more next week. Yeah.
He only caught 2 passes, but he got 51 receiving yards in the process and scored the Browns' go-ahead touchdown in the third quarter. He contributed an 18-yard catch on a touchdown in the fourth quarter. And that spin move he put on Justin Reed
was
disgusting.
Insane. Dude, when I was in the stadium when that happened, nobody expected any of that to come from anywhere.
Right.
It was just like Baker Mayfield threw it, and then he just started running, and he just started juking, and then I was like, he's not making it to the end zone. And then he started juking some more. I'm like, he's not making it to the end zone. And then I realized, holy crap, this man about to go into the end zone with all of that happening. And the crowd went so insane. And the best part is, I got that on video. Insert. Go.
There you go.
Wasn't that amazing?
He was unfucking real, man. Like I said, to get that much production out of 3 snaps from your 4th string running back.
Where is that video now?
4th string running back. The guy who the Bengals don't even have a 4th string running back. The Browns happen to be carrying a 4th string running back. He got in the game for 3 offensive snaps and was almost the difference for the Browns that week.
Insanity.
He also was returning punts and kicks. He averaged 7.3 yards per punt return and 20.5 yards per kickoff return. So not only did he have impressive production when the offense was on the field, but he also gave the offense some good field position just throughout the game.
So he was drafted from UCLA.
Yeah.
And he had a really good preseason. He had they were talking about cutting him, I'm sorry. The Browns wasn't talking about cutting him. A lot of people on the radio, a lot of people around the Browns thought that he would get cut because, like, there's no way. Like, you got Kareem Hunt, you got Nick Chubb, you got all these players. Why would you go out and why would you need this 4th string running back? But he was tearing it up in the preseason. And the coaches was like, dang, we could put this guy at running back. We could put him at receiver. We could have him do kick returns.
Right.
He's just another weapon. You don't say no to another weapon. And if you really watch him in preseason, you're like, holy crap, this guy's doing it everywhere. But you just keep on thinking, it's preseason. Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, you're not thinking about him. It's so easy for you to forget him. Dude, no, this kid, man, we got him in the 6th round? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew Berry.
Definitely working out so far. But you want to hear a crazy stat, Thomas? Like mind-boggling stat.
Okay, I'm listening.
Dimitri Felton received like his overall grade from Pro Football Focus was a 98.7.
Wow. That's actually really freaking good.
As far as I can tell, that is the single highest overall grade for any player in a single game in the entire history of Pro Football Focus. As far as I'm aware, again, now this is I'm sort of getting this information from an article that Pro Football Focus posted in the 2019 offseason. So there's been 2 seasons played since then, and there could have been better grades since then. But from as far as I can tell, the next highest grade in all of Pro Football Focus history was Andrew Whitworth against the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 2010. They graded 98.4.
Right.
Now, impressively, the Bengals lost that game, and they lost that game pretty decisively. But Andrew Whitworth had a really good game, apparently. That wasn't a good game for that was a really bad year for the Bengals. Shout
out to Andrew Whitworth.
That was the year that made Carson Palmer quit on the Bengals.
Yeah, no, Andrew Whitworth is really good.
Well, and he was good all the way back
Andrew
in
Whitworth
2010, which was early in his career. But like I said, previously, as far as I can tell, that was the highest graded game ever until Demetric Felton. Now, granted, Demetric Felton only had a handful of snaps, so it's just like, how much can you really put into the fact that he had like this amazing game when Andrew Whitworth did, Andrew Whitworth put up a 98.4 overall grade among like 50 or 60 snaps throughout the game. So it's sample size, but at the same time, that's still remarkable to me that somebody graded that. I've literally never seen somebody grade that high, and it appears to be the fact because nobody has ever graded that high.
You want me to go ahead and give you my player to
yeah, go ahead. I think I said everything I had to say about Demetric Felton.
I'm gonna go ahead and go to well, he's not technically a rookie anymore, but he was a rookie. He missed the rookie season. I'm gonna go with Grant Delpit. I mentioned him earlier. He tore his his Achilles, and came in. He looked really good. Mm-hmm. That kid looks fast. He looks like he's hungry. He plays hard. I cannot wait to see what he's going to do.
There were actually in that particular draft class, there were a lot of people saying that he could have been possibly the number 1 overall pick in that draft class had he not gotten hurt. But he did get hurt, and he came back for his senior season, and he didn't look quite, as like top level insanity as he had previously looked before that. But I mean, talent wise, Grant Delpit is one of the most talented safeties I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that he's tearing it up there in Cleveland doesn't really surprise me. I was actually kind of like annoyed when you guys got him in the second round. I'm like, God,
he tore his Achilles last year.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
He was the best safety that year in college football, right? He had to be. Like, he's so good, dude. He's so good. He's so good. He's so quick. What I like about him is how well he sees the game. Right. Like, he plays so smart. Man, I can't wait to see him next Sunday. He's good. That was an amazing pickup. You still got John Johnson. You still got Rodney Harris. This defense have potential. It's there. It's just all about trying to get it to jail. But as soon as this defense get everything together, this defense is going to be great.
Yep. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the fantasy league. Talk about what's going on in the fantasy league. First of all, I'd like to ask, what the hell's going on with your fantasy team, Thomas? You're not doing so well.
It's week 2. I'm already giving up my fantasy team. My other fantasy team is 2-0.
Well, that's great, but your current fantasy team is technically not yet, but about to be 0-2.
Yeah, see, I blame Yahoo for that. This is why you don't use Yahoo Fantasy.
Well, you know what? They got like at the end of the day, they have the best tools. And I'm sorry that it's glitched out.
Who uses Yahoo Fantasy, dude?
Every single serious fantasy league I've played for uses Yahoo. Honestly, I have glitching problems on on ESPN. So I mean, like we could have maybe used like NFL.com, but I just think Yahoo has better tools.
You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm the crazy one.
I think you're the crazy one.
I'm pretty sure I'm the crazy one.
You're the one who keeps playing Ronald Jones.
You're the one you were telling me to play Ronald Jones.
Look, man, Why do I
listen to you
about the fact that Ronald Jones helped me win a championship last year?
I need to pick up Dimitri Felton. Let me do that right now.
Yeah, probably. Well,
yeah, let me do that right now.
I don't know about. I don't know.
Let me do that right now before I edit this podcast.
Who the hell are you going to drop for Dimitri Felton?
I don't know. One of my
kickers. If you drop Ronald Jones, I'm going to take Ronald Jones. I'm telling you that right now.
I am not dropping Ronald Jones. I'm not an idiot.
Well, then who are you going to drop? You're going to drop Latavius Murray?
No, I'm not dropping Latavius Murray. I need him. He's my best running back.
Yeah, he was on the bench.
I know.
Which is sad because Kareem Hunt's on your team.
Stop making fun of my team.
No. Thomas's awesome team.
Let's see. Oh crap! This is I'm looking at the wrong fantasy team. This is my team that's winning. This is what happens when you have too many fantasy teams. But no, I don't know who I'm dropping for my for Dimitri Felton. Let me think about it for a second.
Okay. Well, anyway, while we're kind of on that note, I just kind of wanted to run through what happened in the fantasy league this particular week. I won. At least it seems like I won. We're still
bragging.
kind of. I'm literally just talking right now.
I mean, you're right bragging about you winning, and then you making fun of me losing.
Okay,
I can feel the energy.
I was making fun of you, but I wasn't necessarily bragging about me. I didn't have a good game. It's just it looks like Ian had a worse game than I did.
That's great.
But the Packers and Lions game still has 12:45 left to go. So technically, these scores could still change. But I'd say right now I'm pretty decisively ahead of Ian Plank, Burrow's left leg. So it looks like Mason Crosby is the only player he's got left. So unless Mason Crosby just nails like 50 field goals or something, I think I'm going to win this game. So, yeah. So I won this week. Brad McGee, the annexation of Puerto Rico, beat you.
Oh yeah, forget you, Mr. Annexation of Puerto Rico.
Yes. Hey man, he was a good guess.
Hey man, look, he's beating me, man. That's the problem.
That's fair.
The problem is Brad won. I lost to a Brad. I'm a Thomas. Thomases don't lose to Brads.
Jordan Heiser, Jungle Bungles beat Offen Church. By the way, I was talking to DJ McNutt, who I think he runs Dunder Mifflin Night 740. And he was asking who made the Offen Church team because he was like, well, if you beat them, then you have to say you beat Offen Church, which is funny. So I asked Jan, and Jan confirmed, yes, that is in fact why he named the team that. So congratulations, Jordan Heiser, you beat Offen Church.
I'm not sure if I should edit that out or not.
No, you shouldn't. Leave it in. Leave it in. Debbie Morgan from Debbie's Unmatched team beat the bot. Thank God the bot lost. I was sick and tired of the bot doing well.
Yeah.
Cameron Matthew.
For a whole week.
Yeah.
You won 1 week of success.
Cameron Matthew from Renegades beat, most likely, I mean, there's still a bit left to play, but most likely beat Nick Boley of Dog Pound, which, like as I said before, appears to be the only other Browns fan in this league. So
yeah, I think he might.
So both Browns fans lost. Go Bengals.
You know what? Look, first of all, I think Dimitri Felton's taking our lead. Let me check his name.
Who the fuck took Dimitri Felton?
I hope nobody, because somebody did. I'm gonna be pissed.
Michael Dorkey, hanging with Hernandez, beat, I want to say Christopher Deaton. I think that's his name, with All About That Bosa. I forget. I think he's Ian Plank's friend. I don't actually know him, but I think his name is Christopher Deaton. So, that'll put him at 1-0 as well.
I was spelling his name
1-1.
like completely wrong.
And then DJ McNutt, the guy I was talking about earlier from Dunder Mifflinites 740, is, let's see, looks like he's currently ahead of Nobody's Perfect, but that game is super close. Right now it's 112-52 to 107-88. And right now it's basically a Devontae Adams versus Aaron Rodgers and Robert Tonyan. So it's basically just like, if Aaron Rodgers continues going off and throws more touchdown passes to Robert Tonyan than John Dorkey, I want to say, because I think he's Michael Dorkey's brother, could possibly win that game, but right now about 5 points behind. But that's a really close one to watch. This one could still go either way. And Green Bay is starting to pull ahead of Detroit, so I'd say they're most likely. It's 35-17 now, so I'd say most likely Aaron Rodgers isn't going to throw too many more touchdown passes, but you never know.
Kyle, well, I regret this.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you why I regret this, because I know the answer. I know what the answer is, but I'm asking you what you think your answer is. Because I know what the final thing. I'm going to tell you I know what's going to happen. But I have a question.
Uh-huh.
If I drop Trey Lance to add Demetri Felton, will I regret it later?
Do you trust Baker Mayfield?
Do I
as
trust
a fantasy
Baker?
Quarterback?
Do I trust Baker Mayfield?
Look, man, Trey Lance is your backup quarterback, and he hasn't even been playing yet. So,
would I regret it?
Look. First of all, I guess my main question here is, like, when are you going to put Demetri Felton in? You're going to, like, sit Ronald Jones for him, which I know you're looking for an excuse to bench Ronald Jones, but you really think Demetri Felton's going to, like,
I'm just adding talent. I got a backup quarterback who is not playing, and then I got Baker Mayfield who's doing great. So, I got that. So that's gonna be great. And then, like, it's not gonna be likely that somebody add Trey Lance unless one of y'all who are listening to this podcast is gonna add them just to spite me.
Well, they might. They might. But here's what thing. I'm not entirely sure you need Trey Lance, because here's a list of quarterbacks who are still available in the league right now: Teddy Bridgewater, Tyrod Taylor, Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz.
He sucks, Carson.
Taylor Heineke, Jared Goff. Jared Goff's been doing well. The one guy, the fat guy from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, fat guy from Pittsburgh.
So I mean,
still
there are quite a few options here, I think. Jordan Love, even, honestly. I mean, you never know. Something could happen to Aaron Rodgers. But, look, you don't need Trey Lance. You already have Baker Mayfield. And if you need a spot starter for Baker Mayfield's bye week, then you can pick up any of these guys, and they should be able to give you a pretty decent start, like at short notice. So, I mean, like, if you really want Demetri Felton on your team, I don't think Trey Lance would be the worst person in the world to drop for him.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. Unless he goes off and I'm going to be salty.
That'd be interesting.
Man, in my other league, I got both the running backs for Lions, DeAndre Swift and Jamel Williams, but neither of them are even doing anything. But that's a bigger league, though.
I wanted to point out, like, we pointed this out before we started recording, but I wanted to point this out while we were recording just to put it out there. You could have beat Brad. It wasn't like Brad had this great matchup and you, like, were terrible. I mean, you got under 100 points, but he only just barely got over 100. It was
that's why I'm mad at you. Because you didn't want to go ahead and start Ronald Jones.
Okay, but here's the thing. You were talking, like like if you had started
that didn't
Latavius
lose me.
Murray over Ronald Jones, you would have only had 5 extra points, and you probably still would have lost to Brad. Now, had you put Henry Ruggs in over DK Metcalf, which I don't know why you would do that any given week. That'd be a weird thing for you to do. But if you, for some reason you had decided you wanted to do that, you would have won the game. You would have won this match if you had Henry Ruggs in there over DK Metcalf. Now, again, I don't know why you would make that decision on a week-to-week basis, especially going up against the Titans. Henry Ruggs was going up against the Steelers. So, I mean, the conventional wisdom here is Tennessee doesn't have a good defense. Pittsburgh does. So you're, going to trust DK Metcalf here. But, retrospectively, Henry Ruggs would have been the better call over DK Metcalf.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. But I would have thought that, though. I would have thought that. I don't know why. I picked up Henry Ruggs for that reason. I was like, Henry Ruggs is underrated. People don't understand how good he is. And I was thinking to myself, I should start this man. But I didn't do it. The mind of a man playing fantasy. Yep. Like I'm trying to figure out which running back from the Lions I should drop for Felton. Should I drop Williams or should I drop Swift?
I would not drop Swift.
Yeah, I'm not gonna drop Swift. I'm dropping Williams.
I think DeAndre Swift. The further this season goes along, the more DeAndre Swift, because he's been having a good game against the Packers. Now, the Packers are starting to pull away now. It was getting interesting there for a minute, but this second half has been all Packers. But DeAndre Swift has been showing some interesting things here and there, and he's young, so. I would trust going forward. I would trust DeAndre Swift to be a pretty good spot starter, if not a regular starter.
Yeah, I didn't get some more points. I didn't get like a touchdown or something in the last couple of minutes, and garbage time. My other team I have Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield on that team too, who's going well for me, by the way. Thanks for that rushing touchdown, Baker. Kenny Golloway's trash ass.
Oh, man.
Dude, I will bench you, Kenny
after
Golloway.
That performance against the Washington football team, I would recommend everybody drop Kenny Golladay. Like, that was awful. That was just straight booty.
Like, I have shorts. I have Jamar Chase. I don't need you. I have Devontae Parker. I don't need you, man.
Yeah, all of which would be better options than Kenny Golladay at this point.
Because Jarvis Landry's going to be out for a little while. The short's going to get some playing time. Odell's coming back. So actually, that's going to be fun.
It's going to be interesting for sure. Let's go ahead and move on to the state of the AFC North, though. I think we talked about everything we needed to talk about with fantasy.
Oh yeah, look. Oh, okay. This is going to be interesting.
Well, all right. So let's start with the Ravens. I got to give credit to the Ravens. I didn't think they had what it took to actually win a shootout against the Kansas City Chiefs, but damn it, they did it.
I was surprised too.
And this is with Lamar Jackson not really having the best game. He threw 2 interceptions, like kind of back to back, but he got it together. And you know what? Once again, this is what good coaching looks like, guys. Look, the Ravens, everybody knows all about the issues they've had with running backs getting hurt, and yet Tyson Williams, Latavius Murray, Devontae Freeman all looked like great rushing options, despite the fact that like all 3 of the rushers they had in camp are like trash. And I'm kind of getting worried that Le'Veon Bell might not end up making an impact. And I'm like, damn it, I really wanted to see him go off against the Steelers. Just like, I don't even need Le'Veon Bell to like come back and be like this amazing, great player for the Ravens. Obviously, I don't want that, but I really, really want him to have a revenge game against the Steelers in Baltimore. That would be hilarious.
Man, I watching that game and just seeing the Ravens just win that game, dude. Like Lamar showed me something. Lamar showed me something, man. Like I know he didn't have statistically the best game, but he still had 100 yards on the ground, and he still made some throws and some plays, and he did everything that he was supposed to do that game. That was prime time Lamar, and he beat the Chiefs. I gotta give it to him, man.
Well,
I gotta give it to him. But I'm also going to say this: that's back-to-back weeks the Chiefs look human.
Yep.
I just want to say that. I just want to say it's really hard to stay on top in the NFL. It's really hard to create a dynasty in the NFL. It's so hard. And I think we're going to see how hard it is. We about to see really how hard it is. Because it's about to get real difficult for the Chiefs. Because it's crazy how teams just catch up in this league. That's the best thing about the NFL is like how things evolve. And you talking about a Ravens team. By the way, this Ravens team do look scary. To be honest, you're talking about a Ravens team that lost so many injuries and they're overcoming all these injuries. And Lamar Jackson's fumbling the ball and picking it off and stuff, and he's still finding ways to win these games.
We're also talking about a Ravens team that last week lost to a sloppy-ass Raiders team. And a Baltimore Ravens team that looked like they were about to implode against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, again, in their defense, they didn't let the issues compound. They pulled themselves together and they made it work, which, again, take some fucking notes, Bengals. God damn it. But you got to give credit where credit's due. The Ravens got it together. The Ravens pulled together and finished off the win in pretty impressive fashion. I just don't know if I'm quite yet sold on the Ravens being as much of a contender as everybody. Like, I still don't see them being like a Super Bowl team or anything like that. It seems like everybody and their brother wants to pick the Ravens as like they're, like, oh, look at me, I'm picking the Ravens to be in the Super Bowl. Isn't that weird and quirky? Like no, shut up. You sound like every other person echoing the same point over and over again. And I don't see it with the Ravens yet. Like, I mean, they beat the Chiefs. That's great that they beat the Chiefs. But I don't know. They seem way too inconsistent to me. And I know they've had a lot of injuries, but the injuries are part of it. They just are.
This is my theory on the Ravens. Lamar Jackson looked good. He had some good runs and everything. But at the same time, he did have 2 interceptions. His passing was still more of a negative than a positive. Wouldn't you say so? Yeah. Do you think that he looked? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that somebody said, oh, you shouldn't force Baker Mayfield. A lot of people say you should force Baker Mayfield to throw, but Baker Mayfield has to throw to win the game. Then he's not going to be able to win the game. I mean, Lamar Jackson does make these crazy passes, but I don't know. I don't know how long it's sustainable. I mean, you keep on proving me wrong, but it's just like I just keep on remembering that Baltimore always looks really good at the start of the season. They always start the season so freaking hot, don't they? And it's like they get figured out later in the season.
Well, there's that. But, I mean, don't forget, I wouldn't say the Ravens have started off looking really hot. Yeah, they beat the Chiefs, but they lost to the Raiders too.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Raiders team. This is a Raiders team that's 2-0, and we'll talk about that.
No, what I'm saying
this is a Raiders team. This is not like a super convincing 2-0 team.
Well, what I'm saying is that I think that the Ravens are going to start off. They're going to have a few weeks stretch where they're looking good. Like they're looking like, oh yeah, they could possibly be another team that go to the Super Bowl. And then about like week 8 or week 9, in fact, I would tell you exactly when it's going to happen. The Ravens are probably going to look good for most of the season, right? Up to the point when they play the Browns. They'll probably even beat the Browns at first. And then that's going to be their peak. Because right there and then is when the Ravens are maybe not fall and stumble, they will plateau. Because the league will start figuring them out. And the Browns are going to figure them the heck out. Maybe it might be the week that they play the Browns the first time. The Browns might figure them out back-to-back week. But all I'm saying is the Browns are going to figure the Ravens out. It's going to be by that second game. And when the Browns figure the Ravens out, it's going to be all downhill from the Ravens from right there. That's my prediction.
I could totally see that because it seems to follow the trend of what the Ravens typically have done.
I know if they don't get figured out by the Browns, they need to figure out by somebody. But they always start the season off high. They always start the season off like 10-3 or 9-8 or something, or 9-2 or something, or something crazy. They win like 7-9, and Lamar gets hot, and then he gets beat, and then all the momentum falls. Happened last year. Happened 2 years ago. 2 years ago, happened in playoffs.
So let's talk about these Steelers.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously the result has been spoiled. I talked about the Raiders are 2-0, meaning they beat.
Oh yeah.
Steelers.
They're 2-0 against the AFC North teams. Watch out.
Man, this yeah, we'll see.
Non-Ohio, but they're undefeated against non-Ohio AFC North teams. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. But so yeah, Ben Roethlisberger. I want to talk about him real quick. Like first of all, this Steelers offense just yeesh. Ben
Yeesh is not even a word.
Do what?
Yeesh is not even a word.
It's close enough to a word. Ben Roethlisberger.
No, it's not even the word. It's not even the word for how bad y'all look on offense.
Okay.
I've been saying this. Steelers fans, I told the Steelers fans, your offense, what does it have to offer? What have your offense done for you lately? Go ahead, Kyle. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it right now.
Look, Ben Roethlisberger looked okay. He threw 295 yards and a touchdown. He only threw one interception, although
one interception.
It was a really bad looking interception, and it was a really poor decision and a really horrible overthrow that directly led to a Raiders field goal. And it was a lead. The Raiders ended up taking the lead with that field goal, and they very briefly gave that lead back to the Steelers in the mid-second quarter before they regained it again, and they never lost it after that. But I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, for the most part, I thought he looked indecisive, and I mean, he was also regularly under pressure. So I mean, like when you're under pressure, you have to be decisive. I'm wondering if he's I think he might be still good enough to put up a few stats here and there, but I don't know if he's mentally got what it takes to be a great quarterback in the NFL anymore.
I mean, yeah, 295 yards, fine. Go ahead, have your 295 yards. 67.5 completion percentage. Okay, fine. One interception, 87%, 87 quarterback rating. Okay. So it isn't horrible. You're still only completing the ball at 60%.
It isn't horrible until you analyze it a little further.
But then when you watch him play, you watch the fact that
right,
it just seems like the farther he tries to throw, the worse it looks. Like that makes sense, right? Yeah. And I know that's football. I know he's like, you're probably sitting there like, well, duh. But like, it seems like he have those little like short intermediate passes, those slants, all the other things down to a T. But as soon as you just move it to like 10 yards from 5 to 10 yards, it just seems like it just falls off a cliff, not a steady decline. Like it just looks so horrible when he tries it. You're just like, ooh, you shouldn't try to throw that again. It's not even like, oh, okay, or you like if I'm a Steelers fan, I'll take a breath every single time they gear up to throw it farther than 10 yards. Like, because every single time I see him throw the ball, I'm thinking, oh, pick. Oh, pick. I like it's only a matter of time till he becomes Pitt Ben Roethlisberger getting picked off every single time he throws the ball because he's going downhill. You suck, Pittsburgh.
Suck indeed. And you know who else kind of more or less sucked this week? Was
down an interception.
Najee Harris. Now again, it's not entirely Najee Harris's fault. You know, he had virtually no chance to get anything done. Only Chuck Secorifor, who's now playing right tackle apparently, performed well as a run blocker. But he finished the game with 10 carries for 38 yards. That's it. Mm-hmm. And a big part of the reason why he had 38 yards is because at one point he had a 14-yard run in the first quarter on a drive that resulted in a Ben Roethlisberger interception, the one that I mentioned earlier.
It was such a nice
it's
interception.
like that 14-yard run kind of ended up not really mattering anyway. So if you take out that 14-yard run, then it's 9 yards for, what would that be, 24 yards? No, nine carries for 24 yards outside of that 14-yard run. Not looking good. And Najee Harris is a good running back, but that Steelers offensive line is just awful.
Trash.
God awful.
Trash.
They looked a little bit better protecting the pass than the run, but even then it wasn't a particularly impressive game. Pat Freiermuth and Zach Gentry, the tight ends, and Najee Harris, by the way, were the main ones who looked competent as run blockers. The offensive line as a whole did not look nearly as competent. Trey Turner actually at one point got ejected for spitting at Raiders linebacker Marquell Lee, for spitting at him in a COVID era. Like, are you kidding me? Like, if any other team's linebacker, guard, I think, if any other team's player spit on an opposing player in the COVID era, they'd be suspended, they'd be sanctioned, they'd be kicked off of like NFL Island. Like, I mean, there would be no mercy for somebody spitting on somebody else in a COVID era. But because it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, Trey Turner gets ejected and nobody's ever going to talk about it ever again. At the very least, I think he should be suspended for that.
Man, that's another culture thing. Steelers think they can do whatever they want, and they're on the whole Steeler way is like,
we're gonna get away with it, so we're gonna be just complete dickwads all the time.
We're losing, but the Steelers think they're so good, but they're not, and that's the funny thing. That's the funniest thing, and they're about to have such a horrible season. It's about to be great. Oh, TJ Watt's injured, by the way, isn't he?
TJ Watt is injured, I believe. So that's going to be. I don't know if he's I don't know if he's expected to miss next week or not. It'll be interesting to see how the Bengals play against the non-TJ Watt infused Steelers. Actually, on that note, I am fascinated to see what this Bengals defensive line can do against the Steelers offensive line. Like, it's going to be an interesting game. And if TJ Watt's not playing, I don't know how the Bengals don't beat him, honestly. Now, historically, Melvin Ingram has been pretty good against the Bengals, so I'll give him that. But if it's just Melvin Ingram, like, I mean, I know they got, Alex Highsmith, I think his name is.
Yeah, I think I want to smoke the Steelers next week. I
think it's going to be fun if you're a Bengals fan next week, especially if TJ Watt's not playing. Now, granted, I would rather beat the Steelers at full strength, but I mean, even if we did beat them at full strength, they don't look like them being at full strength is really all that impressive anyway.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna smoke the Steelers next week. I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Are y'all home?
No, we're in Pittsburgh.
Oh shit!
We're not home again until we play the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football.
I can't wait for this weekend. That's going to be a good game. I got some good seats in this game too. We'll have a sign just like this one.
Yep.
Man, but anyway, that's not here or there. The Steelers, though, man, their coaches all messed up. Their teams all jacked up. Man, it's just so glorious watching the Steelers just suck.
It is a glorious downfall that a lot of us have waited for years to see. And it's still frustrating, though, because, like I said, Trey Turner's out here spitting on other players, and nobody's going to do anything about it except, like I said, he did get ejected from the game. But, I mean, like, Mike Tomlin's still out here being like, oh, he didn't do anything wrong. And you remember when, like, Freddie Kitchens was out there being like Pittsburgh started and how he got killed by everybody. But Mike Tomlin acts like that, and nobody does anything about it. The Steelers act like this, and yeah, the player gets ejected from the game, but nobody talks about it afterwards. There's not going to be any fines. There's not going to be any suspensions. Nobody's going to have any problem with the fact that Trey Turner did something because he's got a Steelers logo on his helmet.
By the way, I'm watching this Packers versus Lions game, and like they had this angle of Lambeau Field, and it occurred to me that I got tickets to the Browns versus Packers game in Lambeau on Christmas Day.
There you go.
And I just can't stop thinking about it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's gonna be a fun day. And I'm going to a Packers fan. And I'm going to hate him almost as much as I hate the Steelers. You suck, Pittsburgh. You suck.
They do indeed suck.
I could never get a job in Pennsylvania. At least not the western half.
No. I don't think they'll give a shit around like Philadelphia, but yeah, Pittsburgh not gonna like us. But then you know what?
D Swift with the jumping over the player. Okay, give me some of those more fantasy points from other fantasy league. I need him to get like a touchdown at the end of the game.
That'd be interesting.
Just jumped over.
Oh
dude.
my god! Yeah, I just saw that.
Good.
But anyway, I think that's it for this episode. I think that's it for this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you appreciate what we're doing. Comment down below if you have any thoughts on anything that we said. You want to talk some trash. You think we're idiots for one of the hot or cold takes that we said, or if you just have any ideas about anything that you want to see on the show. If you want to come on the show, you can probably just ask in the comment section, or you can hit me or Thomas up directly. And we always love having people on. Don't forget to check out more of what I do at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter, facebook.com/thephelps, and atbnetwork.com, where I'm doing a lot of writing lately. And from what I understand, they're I don't know if you call it being part of a podcast network, but they're going to start promoting our content. So, really excited
Awesome.
to be partnering up with them. You can find more of what Thomas does at T_star94 on Twitter and Instagram. YouTube is Thomas J Network, and TikTok is also the Thomas J Network. He's been blowing up a lot on TikTok lately, so you might want to go check that stuff out. But anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you on the next episode when we do our previews for week 3. And until then, I'll leave y'all with the Who Day.
Go Browns and go DeAndre Swift, who's tearing it up for my fantasy team. Dude, keep on balling.
Yeah. Wait until just now to do it.